Well, disappointed with the outcome. You play this game to win, and we didn't do what we need to do to get the W out there in Alabama. But there was some bright spots in the game with the Lumberjacks. But we were playing a really, really good football team. And credit the Troy Trojans and Coach Summerall and that program. I mean, they are legit. They were Sun Belt champions last year, undefeated. Beat UTSA in the Cure Bowl, and they were as advertised because they were really, really tough. And they came out and got after us early, and we fell way behind. But was really, pleased with the grit and the effort of our guys to get back in the game and make it a game. But then we just didn't have enough to finish it and everything. But a lot of positives coming out of it, out of the trip. I feel good about our team. We've just got to get better, and that's on us as coaches. Championships aren't won or lost in the first week of the season. They're won throughout. And so we've got to do a good job this week improving in some areas and getting our guys ready to play against a good Alcorn State team this week.
I was going to ask you, first of all, what does Alcorn run offensively, defensively, all that?
Yeah, they haven't changed a whole lot from last year. They're going to be all over the place. Defensively, they blitzed us 60% of the time last year and stunted and moved, and they're very, very active. Offensively, they got us with some tempo stuff last year. I'm sure we'll see some more of that this year. Athletic and have some really good players. They're a well-coached football team. So we will be in for a dogfight against those guys. I know last year out there at their place, after we finally got started about midnight, we had about a 3 or 4 hour rain delay, seems like. They were flat getting after us, and we were down 21-7 at halftime, had to really come back there in that game to pull out a hard-fought victory there at their place. And so I'd expect more of the same here Saturday, just two really good football teams getting after it.
Coach, one of those bright spots that you talked about, 30 points scored against Troy, one of them being a defensive play, but you also had Brian Maurer at the helm. 30 points against Troy, that's something that doesn't come across easy. One of the highest, I think the highest total of scoring in an FCS versus FBS game. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we'd actually kind of set that as a kind of a goal there for the game was 30 points last year. Troy, and they've returned just about everybody they had on defense. They only gave up 30 points one time, and that was to App State. They held Ole Miss to 28 and UTSA to 14, and so just not many people found pay dirt against those guys very often, and so we'd kind of challenge our guys, try to knock 30, and it was 24 to whatever it was. We were down by, I think, 2 touchdowns, and I was going to go for 2. It was either going to be 29 or 31, and then it got stretched a little bit. So I said, well, we'll go ahead and kick the extra point and reach that 30 goal. But that was, that's the most points this program scored against an FBS opponent in 23 years around here, and so there were some bright spots. I thought the offensive line really did a good job. Kind of gave them the player of the game. Just because they controlled the line of scrimmage. We had 6 tackles for loss. Troy only had 4, and they didn't have a sack, and we had over 100 yards rushing. And so if you'd have told me we were going to do that against Troy, I would called you crazy, to be honest with you. So I told somebody I was going to do a cartwheel for them and made a first down against these guys. And so there was some good production there offensively. We were efficient in the red zone. 2 for 2 down there, but they do play a lot of cover 3. It's hard to get behind them and hard to find an explosive play. So we had to put some things together. Didn't play great in the third quarter, and that's when things really got away from us. It's 24-20 there right before half, and we gave up 7 to make it 31-20 at the half, and then it came out and went 3 and out with the first possession. So that was where it kind of stretched back away from us. But overall, pleased with some of the things we saw on offense, but still a long ways to go.
Coach, it would have been easy. A lot of FCS opponents going into an environment like that against a team like that, to go down early the way you guys did, to just mail it in, keep everybody healthy, let's just get to the next one. That's not what you guys did at all. Talk a little bit about just the fight that your team showed. I mean, that comeback you guys kind of made there late in the first half was really incredible to watch.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, we started out really poor with that kickoff coverage, and then we threw a touchdown in the first play of the game, but to the wrong team. And I'm human like everybody else. I was sitting there and doing the math in my head. I was like, 14. 280 to nothing is what the score is going to end up being. I mean, if we stayed on that path, and but luckily, the guys came back and really fought. And the thing was, I mean, credit Troy, and they're well coached and they got really good. That running back was legit. I mean, that guy was a dude, and so they had a lot of hand in what I'm about to say. But we felt like we missed a lot of tackles. There was a lot of yards after contact. We had some misfits on a few stretch plays, but 31% of their plays we had missed tackles on. And when you miss tackles and you're able to turn 4 into 12 or 12 into 58 or whatever it was, we were gifting them some things. We had a busted coverage right there before half. We fought back, made it 24-20. And they get the ball with 36 seconds left, and they hand the ball off. They're going to go to the half. They're going to chew their kids' tails off and come back and play the second half. Well, they bust it for 12, and then they call a timeout, and then we bust a coverage and put them down there in the red zone. They score the next play, and that just, really deflated us, and we weren't able to get that back. But, again, there was a lot of grit, a lot of toughness for our guys because it would be easy. I mean, you're playing that's not just an FBS team. That is the undefeated Sun Belt champion. I mean, that's a legit team, and it could have got really ugly really fast, and it didn't. And that's what kind of my message to the team after the game is I felt so much better. I hate losing, and there's no moral victories and we scored this many points or did this and we lost the game and you play to win. But leaving that locker room, I felt so much better about our team than I did 3 hours before, and so much better. You compare year to year, leaving the locker room in Montgomery last year after the Jacksonville State game, or last year after the La Tech game. Just a much more confident locker room was loading that bus for that. Seemed like a 48-hour bus ride home, But kids are tough, and we rolled into town about 10 a.m. Sunday morning, and they were all there. Meetings and workouts this morning, and they're ready to go to work and put on a good show for the home fans here, home opener against Alcorn State. So we got some great kids, and I'm proud of them.
That was my next question, actually. Alcorn State, or being back home.
Mm-hmm.
How excited are you to be back in front of a home crowd opening the season here?
Oh, there's nothing like playing at home, especially here at Homer Bryce. We've got some of the best fans in the entire country, and they love their Lumberjack football. It'll be the first home game for a lot of the students, and so I know there'll be a great crowd. It's supposed to be a beautiful day, 90-something degrees, so it's not going to be in the hundreds. So that'll be nice, cooling off there in the evenings, and UT and Alabama, they don't kick off till 7, so everybody can just set that DVR, come out, catch our game, and catch up on the Longhorns and Crimson Tide when that thing's over. So it should be a really fun night and an electric environment. I think game ops folks have some neat things in store, so it should be a lot of fun Saturday night.
Any there are particular players that looking to stop?
I think just mainly kind of like we said this week, try to control that line of scrimmage, and if we can keep their ground game in check, that will really help us and everything. And then we've got to just be efficient offensively. We were able to run the ball a little bit against Troy. We need to, have some explosive runs and try to open up the pass game. We didn't get behind those guys much. Again, they were playing. Part of that is due to the coverage they were playing, but we need to see some explosive passing game come to fruition for the Lumberjacks.
Coach, you guys are going to play that first home game like the first week of September this year. I know last year it felt like it was mid-October.
Halloween.
Before we finally played a home game. How nice is it to have that early home game? Because, last year it felt like there were times early in the season that you guys were just fatigued almost, like just being on the road every week. So how nice is it to have that early?
It is awesome, and that's one thing with FCS. You got to go play the money games, and sometimes the schedule doesn't work out in your favor. But it does this year, with the home slate that we have and an early one. Everybody just getting back, and I'd rather have this my first week than last week because a lot of times Labor Day everybody leaves that first weekend. So expecting a big crowd, and it's a fun place to play. We take great pride when we walk down there on Thursdays and practice. On that turf, and so we're going to defend our home turf. We had the second longest home winning streak in the country at one point last year, and we're ready to get that thing cranked up and rolling again.
Well, Nathan beat me to the punch there on the questions that he asked, and I think you probably already answered this one, but I was going to ask you about. You said that there were areas to improve on this week as you get ready for Saturday's big game,
Mm-hmm.
with that first win of the season. Can you elaborate a little bit on those areas to improve?
Yeah, special teams gave up a big return. We can't have that, and just had some guys out of sync and out of alignment there. But mainly, defensively, it's got to be our tackling. We misfit a few runs, and that's on coaching, and then poor tackling. You got to get a guy on the ground. Got to use your arms, and so we're going to be cranked up full pads and doing some tackle drills to improve that. But that's what's encouraging is the 200+ yards that they had after contact. That can be corrected and everything. Offensively, we've got to settle down and play our game. I think we need to be a little bit more efficient in the downfield passing game. We dropped a few balls on some key passes that could have kept drives alive, and then just our overall awareness. There's a few times that we weren't aware of where the sticks were, and we were dancing around instead of just putting our head down and getting 1 or 2 more yards to keep the drive alive, forcing some punt situations. And so those are some of the things that I'd like to see us improve on.
Did DeMarcus Ware suit up in the second half?
Number 6 and number 9, and those guys, I thought they were his, cousins or something. So they had some dudes out there. One of them, they call him Frankenstein. That's what they call this kid. And so again, it's a tip of the hat to our O-line to keep Brian Maurer upright and didn't get sacked one time against a defensive front like that. That says something.
Well, thank you for your time, Coach. We'll see you this Saturday, 6 p.m. against Alcorn State.
Appreciate it. Axum.